Hello, good day all, and welcome to this webinar. My name is Lynn, and I am the marketing specialist for the Benelux and Nordics region at Advantech. Thank you for attending this webinar. Today, my colleague Mike Leary will give you a presentation about Advantech display solutions for outdoor and unattended. Mike is the business development manager at Advantech and has been with us for over 2.5 years. If you have any questions during the webinar, you can ask them in the chat box, and I will hand over the microphone to you by the end of the presentation. Alternatively, you can raise your hand at the end of the presentation, and I will unmute you so you can ask your question directly to Mike. As always, this webinar will be recorded, and you can ask for a copy of the recording and/or the presentation after today's broadcast. I will now hand over the word to Mike. Enjoy this webinar.
Good morning, everybody. Hi. Great. Thank you very much for taking the time to see my presentation this morning. As you introduced me, I'm Mike Leary, the Business Development Manager for Advantech Industrial Display Systems. And today I'd like to take you through a presentation focused on the outdoor and unattended arena and focused on our display solutions for those. So let's just take you through the agenda for this morning. So first of all, I'd like to give you an overview of some of the challenges that you will experience in the outdoor and unattended market, and some ideas on how Advantech can overcome the challenges for you and your business. I'll show you some of our success stories where we've already produced products for that market, and take you through some individual products, our range of high bright and sunlight readable displays, our optical bonding capabilities, our custom cover glass, touch technologies, something called UDT, which is our universal display tool, our new IDS 6000 series, and then panel kits and our bespoke custom design and production. So hopefully by the end of this presentation you'll realize that we'll have a whole package of products designed for the outdoor and unattended market that you can use whether you're a system integrator or looking for an end user product, or looking to integrate a simple panel and AD board. So what are the challenges of the outdoor and unattended environment? It's a very harsh environment depending on which part of the world you're situated, and wide extreme temperatures is something that our equipment has to overcome, and some of these temperatures can be as low as -40 all the way up to 70, 80 degrees plus. The other factor is high ambient light. So if you're in an uncovered outdoor area and you're susceptible to sunshine, then customers need to be able to read what is on your display. So we need to overcome this high ambient light issue. Vandalism is something that we can't always avoid, and in some areas worse than others. But we've got some tricks up our sleeves that might help in that area and extend the lifetime of the products. And these days, energy saving is also very important. If there's no audience to see your display, no passengers, then what's the point of having it on? So we have a method where we can only turn it on when it's needed, and so this extends the lifetime of your products and also saves energy overall. So here's our package of products to overcome the challenges. We have, so in order to compensate for the extreme temperatures outdoors, we have to use wide temperature components. So once we know your application, we will choose the right display panel, which has at least -20 plus 70 degrees operating temperature. And the same goes for the AD board and SPCs and all the components around that. We can add efficient cooling fans to cool down the whole system, and so we can work closely with you on that to make sure we have the right cooling. So no matter what the ambient temperature is, we can be 10, 20, 30 degrees cooler than the ambient temperature, and this is very important. We have high bright TFT panels, which will enable the content on the display to shine through direct sunlight, so you can clearly see the content. We also have optical bonding, which further enhances the visual content and helps in other ways, such as strengthening and anti-vandal. And of course, we're going to need some sort of rugged strengthened glass or acrylic to protect our equipment from vandals and the outside world. The universal display tool, which I've mentioned before, and I'll go into more detail later on down the line, which will allow you to remotely diagnose your product out in the field. And then in terms of energy saving, proximity sensor, so that you can only operate when somebody is there physically, so you're not wasting energy. And also ambient light sensor, which will, it's no good having the 1200 candela display shining in the middle of the night. So this will turn down the backlight, so it's relevant to the outside ambient light. And of course, your remote diagnostics, as I already mentioned. So just moving on. So let's give you some examples of where we've had some success already over the last year. Here, our success story number one, we've designed an open frame 24-inch high bright monitor, which our customer then builds into their housing. So this was an existing housing for passenger information system on public transport, and we have provided a bespoke 24-inch high bright monitor to be retrofitted into those existing housings. So this in particular is a 1200 candela TFT panel that we used, thermally controlled, so we've added some very efficient cooling fans to bring the overall temperature much lower than the ambient temperature. We've also added our UDT, Universal Display Tool, which is an AD board, which allows the customer to remotely diagnose their monitors in various locations to make sure that everything's working correctly. So before they send any engineers out, they can diagnose a problem before a customer has noticed it, and they can take action and know what that problem is. It also has auto brightness control, as I said, to meet the low levels at night time. So during the day it's 1200 nits, and then at night time it will reduce down to 250 nits. And it also has a proximity sensor, so until somebody walks up to the vicinity of the display, it won't actually be on. And as soon as they walk up there, it turns itself on. So this is a very good product, and we've rolled out many hundreds of these in a particular country. Our second success story is an actual panel PC, an open frame panel PC. This is a 10.4-inch high bright 1200 candela TFT panel that we've integrated into an open frame chassis, and onto the rear we have added the Advantech Myo 2263 with SSD and Windows 7 embedded. The beauty of this particular product is it is actually a touch panel PC, and we've particularly chosen a touch technology that works very well in the outside environment for rain droplets, gloved or ungloved hands, and it's of course wide temperature as well, so the whole system works very efficiently. We supply the open frame panel PC, touch panel PC to our customer, and they build it into their own housing, and they are able to seal the panel PC to IP65 using a sealing method within their housing. So obviously this stops any ingress of water and dust over time, and this has been very successful for us. So moving on to our products that we can provide to you to integrate into your products. We at Advantech in Taiwan, in our facilities in Taipei, we can take a standard TFT panel and we can modify that to become high bright. So we do this by optically enhancing the TFT panel. We take it apart, we add special optical filters, and we also strip the backlight and add our own special backlight to enhance it to 1200 nits. We have a very efficient way of doing that, and you'll see in the next slide that we can thermally reduce the overall temperature by 10 degrees compared to other high bright solutions. So we found a very efficient method to keep the temperatures down, which is always a challenge for high bright TFT panels. And this in turn increases the lifetime and the reliability of our products in your housing. And of course, like we did in the previous example, we can add additional fans to increase the air circulation and further increase the lifetime. Another method we can enhance the display is to use optical bonding. It's not always required, but certainly for outdoor environments, it's becoming more and more useful. By adding a layer of optical bonding between the touchscreen or the tempered glass and the TFT panel, you can eliminate any greenhouse effect. So particularly if your display is going to be subject to direct sunlight, what has happened in the past for those that never had optical bonding is that the gap between the touchscreen and the TFT would heat up quite radically, and would actually cause the TFT to blacken, which is not very good if you want your customers to see the content. So by adding a layer of optical bonding in between the touch screen and the TFT, you eliminate this greenhouse effect. The other advantage is that it increases the viewing ability of the content. It actually increases the contrast ratio, so you're able to see the content in high sunlight, and also decreases the reflection points. So instead of having 3 reflection points, if you would just do a typical air bond, you now have only 1 reflection point. So if that 1 reflection point is the touchscreen or a piece of glass, we can change that to anti-reflective coating, so therefore minimizing the reflection even more, and more of the content is seen by the customer or the passenger. So here at Advantech in our facilities in Taipei, we have 2 types of optical bonding. We have a wet bond type, which has been traditionally used over the last few years, which is very useful solution, works very well. But more recently, we have invested in dry bonding equipment, and this actually is a far lower cost solution because it has a better yield rate, and has a more or less a similar effect to the wet bond. So we would certainly recommend the dry bond solution as a low cost and rugged solution. Here you can see maximum fill is 1 millimeter gap between the touchscreen and the TFT. Other properties and advantages of optical bonding, you will see that having an extra layer between the glass and the TFT panel further protects your hardware. So if there is any impact on the glass or the touchscreen, the overall effect of the optical bonding allows the impact to be dissipated over a larger area, and therefore tends not to damage the TFT panel. Obviously, also very good in low temperatures also, because there's no freezing of the air gap in between, and as mentioned before, visually you're getting a much better visual content coming through from the TFT display. So we can also offer various touch technologies, but for the outdoor applications we would highly recommend projective capacitive, as this has all the properties needed for the outdoor environment. It completely protects your hardware, as it has glass on the outside or acrylic, which you can use as a sacrificial layer. Now that particular glass or acrylic, we can put various coatings on that, so we can have it anti-glare, anti-reflective, or anti-fingerprint, or a combination of all three if required. And we can customize your glass to look and feel exactly how you want it. So we can have a customer logo, we can have black screen printing on there, we could even cut holes in the glass if you wanted maybe control knobs to protrude through. We can customize it on every level. And of course, using projective capacitive, people expect it to be dual touch at least, as in your phones these days, which gives you the added advantage, so people can do their gestures on the screen and interact in the correct way. As mentioned before, projective capacitive and this particular PCT that we use is ideal for the outdoor environment. So it will work with water droplets on the surface, regardless of whether there's water droplets on there or not. It will still work when you touch the touchscreen. With our touch PCT, we can go up to 10mm glass thickness. Most of our solutions are around 3mm tempered glass. We have done a 6mm version, or in some cases our customers have used a 3mm glass, PCAP glass, and then they've pushed that up against say 4mm acrylic or polycarbonate or glass. So you have a sacrificial layer. So if for any reason that first layer of glass is broken, you haven't damaged your whole panel PC or display monitor, you can just replace the glass, which is a very low cost solution. As mentioned before, your system integrator or yourself can seal the panel PC or display monitor to IP65 to stop any ingress of water and dust. And as mentioned also, we can use the touchscreen with gloved hand or ungloved hand. And so this is a very efficient PCT that we would highly recommend. It also has drift-free operation, so there's no, once you've calibrated it into the machine, there's no need to recalibrate again. So we go on to our universal display tool. This is in the form of an AD board. We have a special chip that's resident on the AD board, and we can add it to any of our solutions, as we did in the example shown before. And this allows you or your customers to remotely diagnose the status of your monitor out in the field. It collects and distributes the health and service conditions over the internet or a mobile device, so you know what's going on. It's a low-cost solution with many applications. Let me just show you some of the command sets and what you can do with this product. So it's an intelligent device. You can add, it already has a temperature sensor, so obviously in the outdoor environment it's very important to know that your equipment isn't exceeding the operating temperature. So you can set up alerts if, for instance, if suddenly the monitor is exceeding 70 degrees plus, you can set up an alert to tell you that there's something wrong here, there's a temperature that's exceeding the operating temperature. So you can be pre-warned that an issue might be about to happen, and do something about it before it becomes a problem. It also can have a shock and vibration sensor. So in terms of vandalism, if somebody comes up and attacks your display monitor in an unattended area, you can switch the UDT so that it would turn the backlight off. So the vandal thinks, I've broken it, great. They walk away, and then 5 minutes later, or a defined time, the backlight will come back on, and your content is showing again, and it's working properly. So this is a very useful solution. It will also register and report to you if there's been any impact to the monitor, so you can put a problem or a smash. You can say, well, that was due to somebody impacting on the monitor. You have full control over the backlight and the power supply. You can even check the video source to make sure you're showing the correct content remotely. It also has an ambient light, as mentioned before, so that will change the backlight brightness depending on the time of day. And it also has a proximity sensor on it to save the power and the overall lifetime of the product while it's out in the field. And you can see the overall effect is saving your customer money. So it's a big USP. I'm not aware of too many other solutions out there which is at such a low cost as what we offer it. And this will be a very good unique selling point to sell to your customers. And we're seeing a very high interest in this type of product. The other good thing about the UDT is that we're currently integrating it to the Advantech WisePass, so it will work in conjunction with the Advantech WisePass. So if you combine it with one of our SBCs or box PCs, then you'll have full total remote control of both the PC and also the monitor. As you can see, the technicalities of the product, the board connects via USB or RS-232 to your host SBC or box PC, and this will allow you to have total control over the monitor and see what's going on throughout the system. And this just gives you a good example of a public ticketing machine where your customer, your clients are in full control of what's going on with their product. It really gives you an intelligent remote diagnostics as to what's happening with your monitor. And we've heard from other customers that they've been called out before with a problem where they haven't had this solution, and it's cost them anything between £400 to £500 here in the UK just to call out service engineer to find out that actually the customer could have just turned it on, rebooted it, and it would have worked fine. So this could end up saving you and your customers a lot of money by diagnosing remotely what's going on and finding out what the problem is before you send an engineer out, if you have to do that. And here's another example again, which is not necessarily outdoor, but for queue busting applications. it really pays for itself and is a very unique selling point. As mentioned before, we're currently integrating the product, the UDT API, into the WisePass. So you'll have one dashboard which gives you all the information on both the PC and also the display monitor. But at the moment, if you wanted to take our solution, we can provide you with a complete API which will work in all OSs, Windows, embedded Windows 7, Windows 10, and recently we had a customer that has converted that to Linux by writing a script around Linux, so it will work with all OS solutions. We currently are making two monitors which will have this functionality in the standard. This is a 15-inch and a 21.5-inch touch monitor. But the beauty of this is that the solution is resident on an AD board, so we can add that to any solution, any custom solution that you require. Moving on to our IDS 6000 series. So this is something that we're currently developing and is very close to launching. I believe it's going to be launching next month. It's still on the theme of outdoor and unattended, but we've kind of standardized parts of it, but it is also very configurable. So the IDS 6000 series is a rugged open frame panel PC, and we have integrated the AIMB 215 and the AIMB 231 into the overall solution. Again, we are using projective capacitive touch for ideally used for the outdoor environment. In this case, it's a 3mm PCAP, which can be sealed to IP65, both single and multi-touch, and finger and gloved hand also. Of course, we will supply the whole kit as required. All the piece parts are there in our Eindhoven facility, and we can, depending on your requirements and your configuration, we can very quickly put the whole thing together for you and ship it out within a short lead time. So again, as mentioned, the IDS 6000 is ideal for outdoor applications, kiosks, ticketing machines, vending applications. It will be pre-approved, so the various configurations will have CE approved. It will be off the shelf, and we can get them to you very quickly. It's a rugged design. All the components are wide temperature to meet the tough usage model. We can change the TFT to high brightness if required. The good thing about the CPUs that we've chosen, they are all fanless. So again, this is very useful in the outdoor environment for reliability. You can see by this slide that how it's constructed. As I mentioned, for the low-end solution, we will be using the AIMB 215, which uses the J1900 quad-core CPU and the dual-core 2930 and 2807. For the AIMB 231, we'll be using the i5 5350U fanless and the i3 5010U fanless. Depending on your requirements, you can pick and choose any of these. And of course, we can configure it with wireless if you need it, or 3G modules, and also SSD designed for your application. A bit more detail on the I/O. You're probably already familiar with the Mini ITX range and their I/O, so they are very good and well-used boards. Plenty of USB, two LANs, and a nice on-off switch. And in this case, we have obviously DisplayPort and VGA leading out to your if you wanted to add another screen to it, you can do, because I think both these boards are capable of driving two displays independently. So you see, yeah, it's a very useful, a very quick to market solution that you could market today, and I'm sure you would get many inquiries on it. This gives you a roadmap on the sizes. So we have currently 12.1 inch, 15 inch, 17 inch, and 19 inch, all of which are good sizes for the outdoor interactive market. If you didn't want a complete panel PC or a complete monitor, then if you're a system integrator, we can supply you a kit of parts. So as mentioned before, we take a 250 candela panel, we can enhance that. So we can supply you with a high bright panel kit, and we can combine that with an SBC of your choice, or an AD board, or even the UDT board. So when you get a kit of parts from us, it's a fully working, guaranteed solution, and then you can integrate into your own housing for the outdoor environment. We have various sizes, as you can see from the roadmap. 7 inch, 8.4 inch, all are high bright. 10.4 inch, 12, 15 inch, 17, 19, and 21.5 inch. Outside of that, we also are able to supply you with other sizes, so stretched panels we have in high bright sizes, so 38 inch, 37, 29, 28 inch. We can provide you 1500 candela and 700 candela. We can also supply with the large screen monitors, so up to 55 inch. We have a 46 inch, which is 5000 candela. So please come to us for all your high bright solutions. We have pretty much anything we can supply you for that. And just to finish off, you know, as in the early examples, you know, we love to get involved on a complete level, and we can work with you or your customers very closely to provide a complete bespoke custom solution through our display DTOS. And here we can change absolutely every aspect of the solution, you know, depending on the potential. You know, to give you a guideline rather than quantities, it's more about value for us. So, you know, we're able to engage with you and your customers. You know, if the value is around $100K plus, that will allow us to have the resource, the right resource to give you to come up with a complete custom solution. And as you can see, we can change every aspect of the solution to provide you exactly what you want, and at the right price. So we can change the glass, we can customize the glass, we can change the touchscreen, we can change the TFT panel, we can provide AD board or SBC. We can completely change the housing and the metalwork, and we can help you with software, and you know, we're willing to work with third parties to bring a complete solution to you and your customers. Just a quick mention on our facilities. I work out of the London office based in Woolwich, where the majority of our design team are based, and the head of our PD, Nick Howe. So come to us first, and we can steer you in the right direction for all your requirements. And we work closely with our other facilities. Obviously, our main facility in Taipei, in Taiwan, where all the enhancements take place. And we also have an extra facility in Kunshan in China. So we're capable of very large capacity, as you can see, 30 to 20K pieces per month capacity. And more recently now, we're working closely with our Eindhoven office to facilitate the CTOS for the IDS 6000 to put all the various parts together before it's shipped out to the customer. We work closely with all of our team across the globe. Here in Taipei, especially, we have a lot of the panel enhancement taking place, and the optical bonding, which has been very successful for us. And just to summarize, I truly believe that Advantech IDS have the best technical expertise globally to deliver bespoke custom display monitor solutions suited for your applications at the right price and within the right timescales. The good thing about us, we have many years experience in this market, so we can respond very quickly to you. We know what we're talking about. We've worked in all of these markets before, in the digital signage, industrial, transportation, gaming markets, and I think above all, the big difference between us and the competition is our level of flexibility of design. We really want to engage with you and your customers to give you the best flexibility, to give you exactly what you want at the right price and at the right time. So I'd like to say thank you very much for taking the time to see my presentation. I hope it's been of use to you, and I'm very happy to take any questions you might have.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was a good presentation, and I think it was so detailed that we didn't collect any questions in the meantime. Let me just double check the chat box. I see no questions. Let me see if anyone has raised their hands. No. No, I really see zero questions. Well, if for the audience, if you do have a question after all, then please don't hesitate in contacting either Mike or myself. I will make sure Mike will get the question. Again, if you would like a copy of this recording or the presentation, drop me a note and I will send you the copies. Thank you all very much for attending, and thank you, Mike, for presenting. Yeah, we hope that this was a good webinar for you, and yeah, see you next time. And have a good week.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. Bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Thanks.